Hi, and welcome back to Beans and Bezels. Today we'll be looking at the Vario Empire. Vario is a microbrand based in Singapore, and they've been around since 2016, so they're definitely not a new player in the microbrand world. They've been designing great looking watches, mostly in the dress and formal watch category. The Vario Empire is their range of Art Deco inspired watches that, in my opinion, has definitely captured the exuberance from that era. I was sent the hand-wound gold and white tuxedo, which looks like it was taken straight out of The Great Gatsby. In particular, this watch is inspired by the Empire State Building, one of the many monuments that still symbolizes that era. Although this is a dress watch, the case has a sporty look to it, with interesting layers and excellent use of polished and brushed surfaces. The case is 38mm in diameter, 46mm from lug to lug, and 11 meters tall. It appears to be a three-piece case construction with a curved bezel that houses a flat sapphire crystal with inner AR coating. The mid-case has vertically brushed sides with high polished top surfaces. This is another element that gives it a bit of a sporty look, allowing for the watch to easily pass off as an everyday piece if required. The lugs rise out of the mid-case and dramatically curve down towards the wrist. The lug and case joint is accented by an interesting design that makes it appear as if the lugs are independently attached to the case. This is a very neat and subtle design element that adds tons of character to the watch. There is an onion-style crown at the 3 o'clock position that is conservatively proportioned, with a 5.75mm diameter, but is very easy to grip and operate. The crown operating experience is excellent considering the price of this watch, and I didn't notice any crown or stem wobble. Flipping it over, you have a sapphire crystal exhibition case back with a great view of the miyota handwound movement that powers the Empire. The case back screws down into the case, but the crown does not. This watch is rated for 50 meters of water resistance. I really like the dial on this watch. Everything about it seems to come together very nicely, even the bold choice of black and gold. There is a narrow chapter ring that alternates between large and medium-sized black dots against a subtle golden yellow background. The chapter ring has just the perfect amount of color without being overpowering, but not disappearing into the dial either. The next element is the black ring that hosts the gold Arabic numerals. The contrast between black and gold is a perfect throwback to the Art Deco color palette. The finishing on these numerals is good for the price, but under my macro lens I did notice some slightly uneven surfaces on the edges, but for a $350 watch this is more than acceptable. Let's move on to the most beautiful part of this dial, the guilloche style center plate that appears slightly recessed from the rest of the dial. The color is a perfect shade of off-white or beige, and it pairs well with the gold elements of the dial. The finishing on this piece is excellent, and I could find no problems here whatsoever. We then have a set of simple and narrow skeletonized hands that are also in gold. The seconds hand has a large circular counterweight, and both the seconds and minute hands extend over the hour numerals up to the chapter ring. While they don't extend over the chapter ring, it is still very easy to read given the contrasting colors and sharp hands. As dress watches go, this is more legible than most. The overall finishing is very good for the price. I noticed some microparticles on some of the dial elements, but this is acceptable for a watch of this price. The primary elements like the guilloche style plate and the hands are very well finished with no irregularities. Impressive work from Vario. This watch uses a miyota 6033, something you don't see very often in microbrand watches. This is a skeletonized hand-wound movement, and for an affordable watch, I think it looks pretty cool. There is no glamorous finishing, but the raw and unfinished appearance of the material definitely has a very appealing charm. This movement is also very smooth to wind and does not feel cheap, like some Seagull ST19s. I logged the accuracy of this watch over a 4-day period and observed roughly minus 16 seconds per day. This isn't the most accurate movement, but still very reasonable performance for the price category. Personally, just based on how it looks, I think I would take this movement over a better regulated automatic miyota. As you would expect, the 38mm diameter and 46mm lug-to-lug width case is very comfortable and has perfect dress watch dimensions for my 6 1/4 inch wrist. The 11mm thickness and flat case back help it sit low, and I think the dimensions are perfect for a slightly sporty dress watch. The Empire ships with one of Vario's excellent leather straps. The strap has a dramatic 20mm to 16mm taper, but it suits the 38mm diameter case very well. The strap is comfortable and requires no breaking in. You can pick from 5 different options, but I had it on the Onyx Black the most, as it suits the dial really well in my opinion. To wrap things up, I definitely approve of this watch. I love the aesthetic, and I think it has been executed really well for the price. The guilloche style dial looks amazing, and the choice of colors across the dial is spot on. The case has a semi-sporty design that will allow for this watch to be an everyday piece if you want it to be. For the price, the movement is a pleasure to look at, and it maintains a reasonable level of accuracy. If this doesn't work for you, you can also look at the automatic variant of this model that houses a Seiko NH35A. In my opinion, the handwound movement adds a lot of character to this watch, and if I had to pick between the two, I would get the handwound. You'll be hard pressed to find a watch like the Vario Empire at a price of roughly $350. So to put it plainly, if you like how it looks, you're most likely going to love owning it. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think of this watch in the comments. As always, don't forget to read the full length review in the link below.